All right, we'll say good morning. Let's begin. Our shir this morning is dedicated by Sarah Nayal Steinberg as a zechus for Rav Shlomo for Shulamis Basusha. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, she will have a refuah together with Kol Chole Yisrael. So we'll say, let's begin. A lot to do today. Today's daf is Lamed Ches. We are picking up on Lamed Zayin Amud Beis. The Gemara says, Avarmina b'Maika Mifligi, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 lines up from the bottom. But it goes quickly. So as I remember again, we left off yesterday with a fundamental machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and the Rabbanon regarding if one steals real property, one steals land. So what's the halacha? Let's say then that land ultimately again is overrun by a flood. So we'll say what's the halacha in terms of returning the stolen land? So remember again, Rabbi Eliezer says you have to go ahead and pay him back for the damages. Land can't be right. I can just give back the land as is. What's the fundamental machlokes? So we said yesterday the fundamental machlokes is: do we say karka nigzelas or ina nigzelas? Can real property, can land be stolen or not? So it says the Gemara, Rabbi Maika Miflagi. What are they arguing about? Rabbi Eliezer darish ribu miute. So Rabbi Eliezer darshan a ribu and a miut. Rabbanan darshan klal upratin. Rabbanan darshan klal uprat. Rabbi Eliezer darshan miute ribu miute. V'kichesh pamito riba. Passes he will deny the item that he has in his possession. That's a ribuy. That's a general statement. Pipi kadon b'chumas yad. Yad miyat. Then it says again with a pikadon or chumas yad, which means like with a loan or with a deposit. Ultimately, again, that's a miyut. Omi kol asher yishava chazav riba. Then it says omi kol asher yishava, whatever he will swear about. That is another ribuy. So we'll say, what do you have over here? Riba umiyet v'riba. So we'll say, have a ribuy, a miyut, and a ribuy. Riba hakol. It includes everything. My riba kol mili, umay miyet. So we'll say it includes everything, but what does it exclude? Miyet shtaros. We'll say it comes to exclude shtaros, right? It comes to exclude shtaros ultimately again from this halacha, since shtaros at the end of the day do not. Rashi says she'in gufan mamon, because the shtar we'll say is not considered to be like an item that has an intrinsic or inherent value. Therefore, it's excluded. But Rabbanan darshi klal uprati. The Rabbanan darshan klal uprat. He will deny against his fellow. That's a klal. Or begezal prat. Then it says pikadon and shamas yad gezel. That's a specific statement. Omi kol asher yishava, or regarding anything that he will swear. Chazar vekalal. The Bible says it goes back and it makes a general statement. Klalu pratu klal. Iatadon ela prat. So I will say in general we have a klalu pratu klal. It is the prat that defines the general principle. Just like the prat will say something that is movable and is inherently valuable. So too it comes to include anything I will say that is what? That is movable and has inherent value. Yatsu karko shein metaltalin. Shein metaltal will say comes to exclude karka, which is not movable. Yatsu avadim shukshul karkos. It comes to exclude avadim because they are compared to karka. And yatsu shtaros she'afal pi shemetaltalin in gufan mamon. And it comes to exclude shtaros also because even though they are movable, they're not inherently valuable. Man de mechayv Rabbi Eliezer. So we'll say the one who holds that Shechayev will align himself like Rabbi Eliezer, namely again that karka and nigzelas. Uman de pater kirabanan amarlei lo. Excuse me, Iman de pater kirabanan. I'm sorry. And the one who says ultimately again the true pater is like the Rabbanon. Amarlei lo. He said not necessarily so. Man de mechayv Rabbi Eliezer. So it's true. The one who holds that Shechayev will align himself like Rabbi Eliezer. Uman de pater amarlecha baha afilu Rabbi Eliezer moda. And the one who says that your pater will agree, and he will say that even Rabbi Eliezer is moda. Derachmana amar mikol velo hakol, because the pasuk says mikol, which is a limiting statement, and not hakol. Amar Abba Rava mas nisan amideka diktani. So also the Mishnah seems to infer this as well. Diktani, because it says ganafta shari. I claim against Reuben, you stole my ox. V'hu omer lo ganafti. I did not steal it. Mashbiacha ani va'amar amen. If I tell him, I adjure you, I hereby administer a shvuah to you, and he says amen, chayiv. We'll say he is chayiv for that. V'ilu ganafta es avdi lo katani. Yet it does not say what? That you stole my servant, my timer. Lad mishum de evet iskish lekarkos ve'in mavien karban al kfir shibir karkos. It won't say because an evet is compared to karka. And it also says, we established in yesterday's daf, you do not take a shvuah sapikadon on a denial of a karka-based claim. One second. Ema Seifa. What about the Seifa? Zaklal. Chal Mishal Api Atzmo Chayiv. V'Shem Mishal Api Atzmo Pater. Yet there must be learned in the Mishnah that what? Any time that you go out and you would have to pay something based on your own admission, you could take a shua regarding that claim. But if you wouldn't pay based on your own admission, you would not take a shua based on that claim. Zaklal Asuyim. I will say, what does Zaklal come to include? Lav La'asei Ganaftes Avdi. Does it not come to go ahead and include the case of where I claim that Reuven stole my servant's top of Lamed Ches? Ella Mehal Lekala Mashnei. You are correct. You can't really infer this halacha ultimately again from the Reish and the Sefer of the Mishnah. Rabbi, just you should know. Bottom line, how do we pass in the Machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and the Rabbanon about karka and exelas? Can real property be stolen? So what's the Shulchan Aruch Paskins? I left it in shul. I'm sorry. So the Shulchan Aruch Paskins that karka in an exelas, real property cannot be stolen. And therefore, it's okay, thank you, Pran. So therefore, in a case ultimately, again, where I steal property, I steal a field from Reuven, and then let's say the field is flooded, all the crops are destroyed, I have the right to say to Reuven, Haresha Chalafanecha. I stole your field, I'm returning your field, really sorry about the damages, but I am not responsible. Rabbi said that is only assuming that what? That I had no hand in the damages. This is all assuming that the damages are a complete act of God. If I neglected the field, or I left the hose running, and the field flooded, then Rabbi said that is my responsibility to make Reuven whole, because at the end of the day, I am the active damager. But assuming that I did not actively damage, but the damage just occurred, we pass like the Chachamim, karka inam exelas, real property cannot be stolen, and therefore again, when returning the property, I have the right to say, Harisha chalafanecha, I stole the field, here is the field, the status of the field is so different from the time of now to the time that I stole it. As long as I did not do anything to actively damage the field, I can return as is. Good. Shevuos hapikadon keitza teinli pikadon sheish lebiyadecha. Says the Gemara. Tan Rabbanon. Klal ino chayiv ela achas. Prarat chayiv akal achas. So remember, in the Mishnah, if let's say again, Reuven claims against me, or I claim against Reuven that he has multiple things of mine. If he just takes a general shua that says shua shein l'chabi adichum, I have nothing, Simon Rabbi say swearing about multiple things because he did not specify in the shua. He just made a general shua. He's only going to be chayev once. However, if he is item specific, I say Reuven, you have my wheat, my barley, my spelt, my oats, my rye. He says I have nothing, and he's lying. He's only chayev once. If he says I swear I don't have your oat, your spelt, so on and so forth, it's going to be chayev for each and every item. Div Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda, this is what Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says shvua lo lecha. V'lo lecha, chayav akal achas v'achas. So also Rabbi Yehuda says that ultimately, again, I'll say this is a case of where there are multiple people who are claiming against Reuven. So if Reuven says shvua lo lecha, v'lo lecha, chayav akal achas. So also now you have to be careful with the lashonos over here. It's the vav is also the vav is important in this. I swear I don't know anything to you. What does v mean? And I don't do anything to you, and I don't do anything to you. So we'll say in that case, ultimately again, Rabbi Yehuda will say that he's chayv for multiple individual shvuos. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, lo lecha, v'lo lecha, v'lo lecha, shvua, chayv akol achas v'achas. So Rabbi Eliezer says similarly again, lo lecha, v'lo lecha, v'lo lecha. Ultimately again is the same idea. One is chayv for every single shvuah. Shimon Omer, ad shomer shvua, l'chol achas v'achas. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi says, no, you're only chayiv individual shvuos when? If you make an individual shvuah for each and every person. I'm Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel, so Rabbi Yehuda says name is Shmuel, both like, klalo shel Rabbi Meir, prato shel Rabbi Yehuda. So there's an interesting relationship. The klal case of Rabbi Meir, the general shvuah case of Rabbi Meir, is like the specific case of Rabbi Yehuda. Klalo shel Rabbi Yehuda, prato shel Rabbi Meir. The klal of Rabbi Yehuda, the general case of Rabbi Yehuda, would be like the item-specific case of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yochanan says, Hakol modim bevelo lecha shehu prat. Rabbi Yochanan says everyone agrees that if the swearer says shvua lo lecha velo lecha, that vav makes it an individual shvua to each of the petitioners, and therefore be chayiv for each one. Lo nechleku ella belo lecha. I want to say, you hear this? What are they arguing about? They're arguing about what happens if you don't have the vav. Instead of velo lecha, all you have is what? Lo lecha, lo lecha, lo lecha. How do we view that type of shua? Rabbi Meir Omer Prat. Rabbi Meir says the absence of the vav doesn't change the issue. I will say what determines whether or not it's an individual shua. What determines over here, I will say, is The fact that I'm specifically mentioning each individual, lo lecha, the vav doesn't do anything. Rabbi Yehuda says klal. Rabbi Yehuda says no. We'll say the absence of the vav. We'll say that vav is called the vav hamosiv. That vav hamosiv ultimately again is building each shavua upon the one before it. With that, we'll say, isn't it amazing how one? Thank you. Right, thank you. Right, isn't it amazing how one little vav can make such a dramatic difference? One little vav. So Rabbi Yehuda, Omer klal. The Ezu Klal Shamer. So what would be the case of the Klal, the general Shavuot, according to Rabbi Meir? Shevuos she'im lachem biyadi. If a person goes ahead and let's say he's being petitioned by multiple people, and he makes a general statement, the Shavua, that I have nothing for you guys, right? There is nothing in your hand. There is nothing ultimately, again, that I owe any of you. That would be the Klal of Rabbi Meir. But my comment, what are they arguing about? Shmuel Dayak Mibraisa, Rabbi Yochanan Dayak Masnisin. We'll say they're each making diyukim from different sources. Shmuel is medayik from the Braisa. Rabbi Yochanan is medayik from the Mishnah. Shmuel dayak mibraisa. So we'll say Shmuel is medayik ultimately from the Braisa. What's the case? Mi dikam Rabbi Yehuda velo lecha pratabi. So we'll say since Rabbi Yehuda holds that velo lecha is a lashon of prat, is a specific shavua. Michlal the shamei Rabbi Meir da amar klal lahabi. It must be that Rabbi Meir would hold that ultimately again it's a klal case. Rabbi Yehuda says pratabi. Rabbi Yehuda says no, it's a prat. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Tarvayu Rabbi Meir pratabi. Rabbi Yochanan will say no, that according to Rabbi Meir, both of them are prat cases. Va'amrilei Rabbi Yehuda bevelo lecha baldina lecha. Rabbi Yehuda will say in the case of velo lecha, I will agree with you that that's a prat case. Below lecha pagin nalach. But in lo lecha, Rabbi will say without what? Without the vav. Ultimately, again, I will argue on you. Shmuel ad the odile aduye. And Shmuel ultimately again will say the following: Shmuel ad the odile aduye liflog ale ifluge. And Shmuel says, instead of talking about ultimately the cases in which they agree with one another, why don't you go ahead and speak about the cases in which they disagree with each other? Rabbi Yochanan daking masnisin. Rabbi Yochanan will say, we'll learn his dik from the Mishnah. What's his dik from the Mishnah? Midikam Rabbi Meir Shevuos she'in lechem biyadi klala havi. Since Rabbi Meir holds that a case of Shevuos she'in lechem biyadi is a klal case, Rabbi Osai, then what? Michlal de velo lecha prata. Rabbi Osai, we can infer from that velo lecha is a prat case. Because if you hold that velo lecha is a klal case, at the mashmalon Shevuos she'in lechem biyadi, nashma'ina Shevuot lo lecha velo lecha. We'll say if that's the case, because if you would think that velo lecha is a klal case, then I will say instead of the Mishnah quoting the case of ilachem biyadi, which as the klal case, go ahead and tell me lo lecha is the klal case. That'd be even a bigger chiddush. Shekein Shevuos she'in lechem biyadi. So Shmuel says kala omer velo lecha komer Shevuos she'in lechem biyadi dami. We'll say Shmuel holds that whoever says velo lecha is that's a klal case, and that is the equivalent ultimately of saying Shevuos she'in lechem biyadi klum. I take a general shvua that I owe you nothing. So Tnan lo lecha velo lecha. So we'll say yet the Mishnah says lo lecha velo lecha. Ultimately, and that sounds like what? That sounds like the Mishnah's example of a case of a prat of a specific shvua. So you see that it's velo lecha. To which the Gemara says no, tani lo lecha. Don't read it as velo lecha. Rather what? Read it as lo lecha. Tashma teili pikadon utrumas yad v'gezel va'aveda. Ultimately, again, the Mishnah says. Case of give me a pikadon utrumas yad, get right v'gezel va'aved the vav tani trumas yad gezel va'aved. So we'll say the Gemara is just trying to make the yukim as to we're just trying to figure out this is a very nuanced difference. What's the case of the prat? What's the case of the specific shvua case? Is it lo lecha vilo lecha? So that's the machlokes. So we tried to make a diak from the Mishnah. Every time you make a diak going one way, the Gemara just says, oh, you could change the gear. So we'll say first wide line, lamed chesed and aleph. Tashma, tein li chitin usaorin v'kusmin. So I'll say, the Mishnah says, I'm petitioning Reuven, give me chitin usaorin v'kusmin. And we'll say, you see the vav over there. So you see that the vav is a necessary piece in order to make it a specific shavua. Tani saorin v'kusmin. We'll say, take out the vav. Just say that I'm saying to Reuven, give me saorin, kusmin, chit, whatever else. The height hanakal hachi shibush tani v'azil. We'll say, could it be that every single line in the Mishnah has to be changed? In other words, every single time we're quoting a case from the Mishnah, the Gemara is essentially answering what? The Gemara is essentially saying, oh, change that. So could it be that every single line in the Mishnah is so mistaken? This is the Gemara says, Ella hamani Rabbi. Rather, I will say whose opinion is being reflected over here. It's Rabbi. The Amar Loshna Kizayis, the Loshna Kizayis Ukizayis. That I will say Rabbi holds it makes no difference if you say Kizayis, or if you say Kizayis Ukizayis. In other words, that Rabbi, I will say, ultimately again is not of the opinion that the vav makes a difference. Well, so if you look at Rashi for just a moment, it's kind of like Rashi right in the middle. Rabbi Meir Hi Da'amar, right across, a few lines up from Likutei Rashi. So Rashi says about Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Hi Da'amar, B'Meseches Zvachim V'Parak Sheni, Loshna Shochet Es HaZevach Amanas Lechol Kizayis L'Machar, Kizayis B'Chutz, Loshna Kizayis L'Machar Ukizayis B'Chutz. So we'll say this happens. Rabbi Shita happens to be in the realm of karbanos, but at the end of the day, he makes no difference between if you say Kizayis, or Kizayis Ukizayis. There is no distinction between the vav. To which the Gemara says Pratahavi. In Rabbi's Manal Rabosai, the idea over here is to be item specific. So as long as you're item specific, whether or not you use a vav is irrelevant. So therefore, if I say chitin sa'orin kusmin or chitin usa'orin vikusmin, makes no difference. The idea is, as long as I'm individually articulating each item, that makes it an individualized shvuah. And I also remember again, what's the difference if it's a general shvuah or an individual shvuah? For a general shvuah, you'll only be chayiv once. Individual shvuah, or item-specific shvuah, you'll be chayiv as many number of items as you have. Rabbi therefore says, it makes no difference if you have the vav or not. If the items are mentioned individually, then by definition that generates individual shvuah liability. So the Gemara goes weiter. Tashma mididei. Rabbi Meir Omer, afilu chita usora v'kusamis chayva kol achas v'achas. Rabbi Meir says that even if he says chita usora v'kusamis, that is an individual shvuah, and you're chayav for each and every one. To which the Gemara says again, so that seems to be a raya that you need the vav. Tani chita sora v'kusamis. So say ultimately again, no change the girsa. There's no vav, just write chita sora kusamis. Okay, my afilu. Well, so why does Rabbi use the lashon of afilu? That even if you say chita usora v'kusamis, or avach Rav Ika afilu chita bichlal chitin usora bichlal saorin v'kusamis bichlal chosin. We'll say the chiddush over here is that even though I'm claiming against Ruvain chita, they will say, now what does chita literally mean? What does it literally mean? One kernel of wheat. So we'll say we understand that when we say one kernel of wheat, ultimately again, what is one kernel of wheat? Rabbi say one kernel of wheat means wheat. Means wheat. Right? Meaning again, I'm not actually even though I'm so we'll say the chiddush over here is that even though I'm phrasing my shvuah in the singular, I say Ruvain, give me back the wheat. Right? Give me back the chita. It works better in Hebrew than it does in English. Give me back the chita, because also remember again, chita in Hebrew could mean either what? It could mean wheat and a large amount of wheat, but it could also mean what? It could also mean one kernel of wheat, right? As opposed to chitin, which is the plural form ultimately of saying chita. So I will say, so the idea is over here that even though I say to Reuven, give me my chita sora v'kusemes, or chita sora, and Reuven swears, I don't have your chita, I don't. So I'll say we don't interpret that to mean one stalk or one kernel of wheat, but rather again we understand chita is the same thing as chitin. Sora is the same thing as sorin. Kusemes is bichlal kusmin. Good. Tainli pikadon ochomes yad v'gezel avei l'shesh chabiyadi. So it says the Gemara tainli chitin usorin. So I'll say ultimately again, if I say to Reuven, give me the chitin and sorin that I deposited with you. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, pruta mikulan mitztarefes. So Rabbi Yochanan holds will say that even though, remember again, in order for a claim to be a valid claim, there has to be at least a proof of an item. Let's say again, I deposited chita and seora with Ruvain, and only to combine is there a pruta. So we'll say they have the ability to go ahead and combine in order to form a significant enough claim. Rashi says over pruta mikulan mitztarefes imino alav mikulan elo shavar pruta mitztarfen lechayva. But as long as there is a combined shavar pruta value of the total items being petitioned or being requested, that ultimately is enough. Pligi baravacha v'Ravina. So Ravina Ravacha argue on this and they say chad amar aprati mechayiv aklali lo mechayiv v'chad amar aklali nami mechayiv. So this is actually very interesting. We mentioned this before. See, let's say if I go ahead and I say to Reuven, give me back my chitin, seorin, and kusmin that I deposited with you. And Reuven says, I don't owe you chitin, I don't owe you seorin, I don't owe you kusmin. So I will say, and now it turns out that Reuven is lying. So how many false oaths? How many false oaths has he made? Bless you. How many false oaths has he made? So we'll say, so this is quite interesting. So on one hand, he's clearly made 3 false oaths, right? But do we say that included in those oaths is a general denial of the claim? Or as well say that essentially what he's saying is, I owe you nothing, and then he's item specific as well. I owe you no wheat, I owe you no barley, I owe you no spelt. So how many chiyuvim does he have for false oaths? Is it 3 or is it 4? Is it, obviously, everybody will agree that it's 3, because he violated 3 item-specific shores. That's called the prati. But is there a general klal, a general overarching shvuah, or denial that he's made as well, that will make him liable? Take a look at Rashi just a moment, Rabbi Osai. Chad amar aprati mechayiv aklali lo mechayiv. Rashi says over here, he says, Chayva kol achas va'achas diktani masnis and chay shalosh kamar, chad achitin, chad asar, chad akusmin, arbolo mechayvin alei, lemeimar, shvuah she'in lecha biyadi, chad shvuah ba'apei nafshehi, shekala ba, she'in lecha biyadi klum. V'chazar uparat, lo chitin v'lo kusmin v'lo asar. So let's remember again, the way this shvuah is phrased is the following. I claim to Reuven, give me back my chitin, sar, and kusmin. What does Reuven say to me? Shvuah she'in lecha biyadi, lo chitin, velo, whatever the right lashon is, velo sa'orin, velo kusmin. Shevuos, I remember again, it turns out that he's lying. So what's the halacha? He's chayiv 3 times for chita sa'or kusmin. Now the Shevuos says what? What about that first phrase when I said to me, Shvuah she'in lecha biyadi, I have nothing of yours in my possession. Is there liability, Rabosai, for that general shvuah? So here the shaila, is he chayiv 3 times or is he chayiv 4 times? That's the fundamental machlokes. So what's the halacha? So the Gemara says, so one opinion said he's only chayiv for the 3 individual shvuos, but he's not chayiv for the general shvuah. V'chad amar aklali nami mechayiv, and one said ultimately again he is ultimately chayiv for the individual shvuos, but also chayiv for the general shvuah. Harikan chamesh esrichatos. Ultimately again. So I'm sorry. Rabbi said that in the case over here there's a liability of 15 chatos. Now this was the case ultimately again in the Mishnah of where you had 5 people petitioning Ruvain for the chita seora and chitin seora and kusmin. So 5 people come over to Ruvain, each of them with the same claim. We deposited our chitin, kusmin, and seorin with you, right? So we'll say 5 people, each petitioning 3 things. What does Ruvain do? Ruvain denies each of them. So the Mishnah says, here's a case of where there's potential liability of what? 15 karbanos. I must say, so what does that tell you? What that tells you is Vim Isa. What that tells you is you're clearly only chayiv for what I was saying. Only chayiv for the prat, only chayiv for the individual shvuos. There is no klal liability. Why I say? Because if there was klal liability, then what? You should be chayiv 20 karbanos. Right? Because again, 5 more karbanos, meaning one karban each for the general denial, shvuah and lechabiyadi, and then 3 additional per person for the specific denial of the chitin, seorin, and kusmin. To which the Gemara says, "V'misa esun havyon haytana de pratika chashuv dechay lo kachash." Not necessarily, because maybe the Tana was only speaking about what? It was only speaking about what I will say the specific denials, but not ultimately again the general denial. Bechia said there are 20 chatas offerings over here. He was commenting on a different case. He was commenting on a case of 5 people who are each petitioning Reuven for 4 items each. So we'll say 5 people at 4 items each, and Reuven denies all of them. Using your higher math skills gets you 20. So we'll say, so it's just an interesting fundamental machlokes over here about, again, when there is a denial. Just again, the way we're assuming this verbiage normally works out is as follows. If I go to Reuven and I say to Reuven, I am hereby petitioning you for the chitin, seorin, and kusmin that I have gone ahead and deposited with you. And what does Reuven say? Shvuah she'in lecha biyadi, lo chitin, v'lo kusmin, v'lo seorin. So we'll say, if you dissect that statement, there are essentially 4 parts to that statement. There's Shvuah she'in lecha biyadi, which is a general statement, I don't owe you anything. And then again, there are 3 specific statements. I don't owe you wheat, I don't owe you spelt, I don't owe you barley. The shaila is, what is the liability that Reuven has for false oaths? Do we just say, well, he made 3 false oaths. He swore about the chitin, kusmin, and seorin, Or do we say, no, he really made 4 false oaths? We'll say 3 of them were item specific, and then 1 of them was what? 1 of them was a general statement. So that is the fundamental machlokes. Do we hold him liable for just the prati or for the klal yazah? So the Gemara goes weiter. Hayu chamisha tovin also. So we'll say if there are 5 people making a claim against Ruvain, they said to him, and they said to him, give us the pikadon, the deposit. Is a loan, stolen item, lost object that we have in your possession. Amr la'echad mehen, Shevuos she'in lecha biyadi, pikadon atrumas yad v'gezel va'aveda. Suppose say, watch this, different case. So Reuben says to one of them, I swear to you that I don't have in my possession your pikadon, your trumas yad, your gezel and aveda. And then we'll say, watch what he does. And then he says, v'lo lecha, v'lo lecha, v'lo lecha, v'lo lecha. And then Rabbi say, instead of going ahead and repeating the same thing, so he spells it out for one of them. So for claimant A, he says, I swear, lo pikadon, v'lo trumas yad, v'lo gezel v'aveda. Then he turns to the second guy, v'lo lecha, third guy, v'lo lecha, fourth guy, v'lo lecha, fifth guy, v'lo lecha. Mahu. We'll say, what's the halacha? Trumas yad, mahu. Achad mechayev, so we'll say, again, the shaila is, so now it's clear that he's going to be chayiv for the first guy. Now it's not clear if he's chayiv for the first guy. Is he chayiv 3 things or 4 things? That goes back to the previous machlokes as to whether or not he's chayiv for the prat and the klal, or just the prat. But I will say, here's the fundamental shaila. Before you turn the page, look at the last Rashi on the daf. Achad mechayiv, akol chad v'chad nehanach basrei, divelo lecha kamar, lav aprata de pikadon trumas yad koi, ve'in kan elaches chatos dal mishum rishon. So we'll say, so the shaila is as follows. So we'll say, for the last 4, so for the first one, obviously, we'll call it, if you hold, let's assume for a moment that there's 4 karbanos. 1 for the klal, 3 for each prat, or 1 for each prat for a total of 3. The shaila is, what's his liability vis-a-vis the last 4? So we'll say, ultimately, again, one thing is clear, that lamaisa, again, achad mechayiv, do we say it's just chayiv 4 Shevuos for the lo lecha, lo lecha, lo lecha? We'll say 1 for each of the petitioners. Amud Beis. O Dilma, hakol chada v'chada mechayiv. Or we'll say, do we say that what? Maybe the lo lecha, we'll say, means that everything that I swore to the first one, I swear to you. Which means just as I am chayiv for 4 Shevuos to the first one, I'll be chayiv 4 Shevuos to each of you as well. So if you look at Rashi, it says, O Dilma, for lo lecha prata kai bi'ish kan chaf. So Tashma, V'ani Rabbi Chia, Harikan Esim Chatos. So Rabbi Chia says there are 20 chatos. 20 chat. In this case, where there are 5 people petitioning Reuven Abosai, there's a total of, and Reuven denies all of them. There's a total of 20 chatos. Can you imagine that? 20 carbon that is chai. Now, what's the case? Eat the parish. Rabbi Chia Minyana Aslash Minas. Here's the issue. If ultimately what? Eat the parish. If at the end of the day he is specifying, if Reuven is going to each of them, and he says, okay, claimant number 1, Shevuos she'in lecha biyadi, lo gezel, lo pikadon, lo trumas yad, lo gezel va'aveda, and I will say, if that's what he does to each of them, so of course he's chayiv 20, because it's 4 claims, 5 petitioners. I don't need anybody to teach that. I can figure out that math myself. Elalav de lo parish. Rather, I will say, what's the case? The case is where he's not being item specific to each person, and yet what? Vishmamina pratavi. And I will say, yet what do you see? This is going to be the case of prat. So I will say, so bottom line, halacha l'maisa, and this indeed is how the Rambam codifies it. What we see is as follows. In a case where there are 5 people petitioning Reuven, and claimant number 1 comes forward, and he says, right, let's say each of them lodged their claim. What's their claim? Reuven, we deposited with you 4 items, a trumas yad, or whatever, 3 items actually. Trumas, pikadon, 4 items. Pikadon, trumas yad, gezel va'aveda. Okay? Reuven, and now each of them are making the identical claim. 5 people. Reuven says to the first guy, Shevuos she'in lecha biyadi. Right? I swear to you that I don't have your pikadon, your trumas yad, your gezel va'aveda. Makes item specific. And then I will say, then what he says is, lo lecha. V'lo lecha, v'lo lecha, v'lo lecha. He says, and not to you, and not to you, and not to yours. He mirrors. Essentially, he says, ditto to all the guys. It's as if he has made the item-specific denial to each and every one of them, and therefore will be chayiv ultimately again for an item-specific denial shvua to each of the interested parties. Good. Anastu pasitas biti. So remember again, the last case in the Mishnah was a person, right? Reuven makes a claim to Shimon, you violated or you seduced my daughter, so you owe me the money ultimately again for the violation. Rabbi Yochanan, my time to so Rabbi Shimon holds that if Shimon were to take that Shevuah that he doesn't owe anything, and then he were to found to be lying in that Shevuah, he's not chayiv. He's not chayiv. I will say now, Rabbi Shimon seems to say the reason for that is why, because ultimately again it's a knas payment. So it says the Gemara something amazing. My time, Rabbi Shimon's logic. Since Rabbi said at the end of the day, what Reuven is really claiming against Shimon is a knas, is a penalty payment, and therefore I will say Moda beknas pater. Since if Shimon were to admit his liability would be pater, therefore when he denies it, ultimately again in this case he's not going to be chayiv for the full shvuah. Amar Rav says Mashal Rabbi Shimon l'mad Rav Domer. To what could this be compared to? We'll say first wide line Lamed Chesem Dalef. Amid Beis, excuse me. Shamar lechaveru, l'adam shamar lechaveru, like a person who said to his friend, "Teim li chitin v'soren v'kuzin sheish l'chabiyadi." Right? Give me the chitin v'soren and kusmin that you have in your hand. Amar lo shvuah she'in l'chabiyadi chitin. So what happens? We'll say the person claims, "I swear I have no chita." And it turns out that the person who swore doesn't have chitin, but hasarim v'kusmin islay the pater. I will say ultimately, but he does have Sa'orin and Kusmin. What's going to be the halacha? I will say he's going to be pater. Why? Because listen, when he swore that he didn't have the chita, he was right. He wasn't lying. So only Rabbi meet them. How can you compare the two cases? Hasab b'chitin ka kafarle b'sorin v'kusin lo kafarle. Was at the end of the day in the mashal you just gave. So he swore that he didn't have chitin, right? And again, he didn't have chitin, but he never swore that he didn't have Sa'orin. Hacha b'kula milsu the kafarle. They both say in this case where Reuven is claiming to Shimon, you violated or you seduced my daughter. Shimon is denying the claim in its entirety. But remember again, going back to the Mishnah highlights the idea that when a man violates a woman, so there are different levels of liability. There's the knas, there's the penalty payment. But remember, there's also the boshes and the pegam. Right? We'll say, right, there's also the personal humiliation, the familial humiliation, which we'll say are not knas payments, are mammon payments, are monetary payments. So we'll say in this case over here, while it's true that if Shimon, the perpetrator, would have admitted the knas, he can pater himself from the knas, but he can't pater himself from the monetary obligations. To which the Gemara says, "Halo damya ella." This case can be compared to the following: Lomer lechaveiro, teim li chitin lesorin v'kusmin sheish lechabiyadcha. Give me the chitin lesorin v'kusmin that you have in your hand. Shvuah she'ein lechabiyadi klal. And I will say, what happens? The person, right, the shomer claims, "I have nothing of yours." And it turns out that he had no chita, hasaran v'kusmin islay, but he does have sorin and kusmin. The mechayiv, they will say ultimately again, he will be chayav for taking a false oath. Ela ki asur avin Rabbi Yochanan. The divrei b'Shimon knasu to avev laboshes upegam. The divrei chachamim av boshes upegam u'toveh. So we'll say, really, bottom line, what it comes down to is as follows: that in Rabbi Shimon's worldview, when Reuven goes over to Shimon, and Reuven says to Shimon, "You violated my daughter." What Reuven Rabbi says is really petitioning for is what? Is the knas payment. The knas payment is the major monetary claim here. Therefore, Rabbi say, according to Rabbi Shimon's worldview, if you lie about a knas that you don't owe a knas payment, technically you will not be chai for the Shevuos HaPikadon. Why not? Or you won't be chai for the Shevuah. Why not? Because since on a technical level you could exempt yourself in totality from the knas by admitting it, therefore you're not chai for taking a full Shevuah regarding it. On the other hand, the Divrei Chachamim, af boshes upegam u'toveh. No, when Reuven claims that Shimon violated his daughter, they will say what Reuven is claiming is not only boshes and pegam, but ultimately again what Reuven is claiming is, Reuven is not only claiming knas, but he's also claiming boshes and pegam. But Micah, if you give us what are they arguing about? Reb Shimon savar lo shavik inish midi the kids, v'tave midi the low kids. We'll say Reb Shimon says that when I have a claim against someone, and one of the claims is a fixed amount, one of the claims is a variable amount, a person sets their sight on the fixed amount and doesn't worry as much about the variable amount. On the other hand, and therefore again, Rabbi Shimon says that it is the knas that is the thrust of the claim. On the other hand, Rabbanan Savri, lo shavik midi dechimo debe, lo miftar v'tavi midi dechimo de miftar. Rabbanan will say no. If I have a claim against someone, if part of that claim the defendant can get out of by how? By admitting to it, then essentially again, I don't hold that much hope to ever reclaiming that money. What I hold that hope on reclaiming, I will say, is what? Is the amount that ultimately, even if he admits his violation, he would not have the ability ultimately to exempt himself. So both say, so the fundamental machlokes is, in a case where Reuven claims against Shimon, you violated my daughter, what is at the core of the claim? According to Rabbi Shimon, the core of the claim is the knas, and therefore again, both say, if Shimon lies that he doesn't owe the knas, he's not going to be chayv for the Shevuos, since why? Technically, he could have exempted himself from the knas altogether by admitting it. According to the Rabbanan, no. A person, the thrust of the claim is actually the mamon, is the boshes and pegam, and therefore, even if Shimon lies under oath, Lamais, he will still be chayv for that false Shevuah to pay back money. So I'll say, how do we paskin? We paskin ultimately again, like the Rabbanan, we paskin that even if one swears falsely regarding a knas penalty, they will still be chayiv ultimately again for that shvuah. Hadron Allah shvuas hapikonim. We'll say mazel tov. Mazel tov. Shvuas hadayonim. We'll say next. It only gets better. Shvuas hadayonim. Right? We'll say again. Shvuas hadayonim means. So we're going to see shvuas hadayonim. Ultimately, is going to be what we call shvuas mod b'miktzas, which I will say ultimately means a shvuah when you go ahead for partial admission. So we're going to discuss this what it means right now. It says, the reason Rashi says shvuas hadayonim. Rashi says that lashon means shadayonim mashbiin al yidei hodas b'miktzas hatayna. We'll say we call it the oath of the judges because it is an oath that is ministered by Beis Din when there is a partial admission. That's why it's called shvuah. This is not an oath that judges take. This is an oath that is ministered by Beis Din, by the judges, when a person makes it a partial admission to a claim. For example, so the Gemara says, first of all, we set the ground rules. Hatayna shteikas. So first of all, the claim I was saying, we'll discuss all this more in the Gemara. So hatayna shteikas. Ultimately, again, the claim itself, monetary claim, must be worth at least two silver pieces. Shteikas. Va'odah b'shava pruta. The partial admission must have a value of at least a pruta. V'im ein hodah mimin hatayna pater. And I will say, here's what's interesting. If the partial admission is not mimin hatayna, I will say, which means is, if I admit something that was not part of the claim, that's not called mod b'miktzas. We'll discuss what that means in just a moment. Kisa, what's the example? Shtei kasef li biyadecha. I go over to Reuven and say, Reuven, you have 2 silver pieces of mine. And what happens? Reuven says, Ein lecha biyadi ela pruta. All I have of yours is a pruta. So I'll say, what's the halacha? Pater. Reuven doesn't have to take a shul. Why? I will say, he admitted he owes a pruta. No, I'm claiming silver. And I will say, prutos are made out of what? Prutos are made out of copper. So I'm claiming silver. He is admitting that he owes me copper. That's not called mod b'miktzas. That's not called a partial admission. Rather, again, I will say what that's called is kofar bakol. He's not admitting anything. He's not admitting anything, ultimately, again, that I'm claiming. And therefore, there's no chiyuv shvuah. Shtei kesef or pruti yesh lecha biyadcha. If I say, Reuven, I deposited 2 silver pieces in a pruta in your hand. Ein lecha biyadi ela pruta. And Reuven says, I owe you a pruta. Then I will say, what? That's called mod b'miktzas. That's called a partial admission. And therefore, what? Therefore, Reuven will be chayiv. Mana li biyadacha. I say to Reuven, again, I have a mana in your hand. And Reuven says, Ein lecha biyadi. Reuven says, I have nothing of yours. Pater. We'll say that's called kofar bakol. That's called Reuven doesn't admit anything. And therefore, again, ultimately, again, he will be pater. We'll say why that is, we'll see in the Gemara. If I say to Reuven, you owe me $100, and Reuven says, no, I only owe you $50, then what we'll say? Chayiv. That's called mod mixes partial mission. You'll be chayiv. We'll say, watch this next case. This is very interesting. Listen to this. I say, Reuven, my father, who has subsequently passed away, right, deposited money in your possession. So I tell him, my father gave you $1,000. So $100. And Reuven says, ultimately, again, that's what? Your father only gave me $50. We'll say, watch this, pater. We'll say, ultimately, again, so Shimon will be pater. Reuven will be pater. Why? Because we'll say, again, it's as if he's returning a lost object. Now, what does that mean? Take a look at Rashi. We'll say, because technically speaking, Reuven could have gone ahead and denied the entire claim. We'll say, for reasons we'll see later on, Reuven could have denied the entire claim. The fact that he admits to part of it, ultimately, again, is like, quote unquote, going above and beyond. And therefore, again, he's believed without a shvuah. I say to Reuven, I deposit $100 with you. Amar lo, hey l'macher. Reuven says, sure, I'll give it to you tomorrow. I'll give it to you tomorrow. So I'll say, tomorrow I come to him. Amar lo tuneoli. I say to Reuven, okay, it's tomorrow. Give me back my money. So nesativ lacha. Reuven says, what are you talking about? I gave it back to you already. I gave it back to you. So I'll say, what's that lacha? Pater. So I'll say, we'll see in the Gemara, he's pater. Again, remember, he's not denying him. He's just coming, I already paid you back. He's pater. But if he claims again, what are you talking about? I don't owe you anything. Then what? Chayiv. Why, Rabbi? Why is he chayiv? Because he already admitted the claim. So he already admitted that he owed me money. So to say, so if we already was going to pay back tomorrow, I come to him tomorrow, he's already paid you back. Okay, most of that case will be pater. We'll see why. But Lamais again, if he now says, I don't owe you any money, so also, what are you talking about? You admitted the claim yesterday. So I'll say, what happens? I say, Ruvain, you owe me $100. He says yes. I say, you know what? You're going to pay me back, but do me a favor. I only want to be paid back in front of witnesses. Right? Let's keep this easy. So the next day, go to Ruvain and say, Ruvain, time to pay me back. So the Sativ L'cha, what does Ruvain say? I paid you back already. So we'll say, what's the halacha? Chayiv. We don't believe Ruvain has to take a shvuah. Why? Since Rabbi says, what we agreed upon is what? That the repayment is going to take place in the presence of witnesses, then Lamais again, he's not believed to now say that he paid me back outside of the presence of witnesses. Litra zav yesh lecha I deposited a litra of zav with you. Ein lecha biyadi ela litra kesef. Ruvain says to me, I will say litra is a measurement. So Ruvain says, well, I deposited an ounce of gold with you. Ruvain says, no, I only have an ounce of silver. We'll say, there's no shvuah. Why? Because there's no mode to mix us there. Why? Because I'm claiming gold. Ruvain says he has silver. However, we'll say, watch this. Dinar zav yesh lecha biyadcha. If I say to Ruvain, I deposited a dinar, a gold dinar. We'll say, now a dinar is a type of coin. So I say, Ruvain, I gave you a dinar of a gold dinar. Ein lecha biyadi ela dinar kesef. On the other hand, Ruvain says, I have a dinar, but it's a silver dinar, or utrisis, upundios, upruta, chayiv, shakom min matbea achas. We'll say this is very important. When it comes to money, as we're going to see, Rabbi say, so money is different. As long as I claim, as long as the denomination of currency that I'm claiming is the same denomination that Ruvain admits to, even if the materials are different, that is still called a modeh b'miktsas. So, if I go ahead and I say to Ruvain, in this case over here, if I say to Ruvain, I deposited you with a dinar zav, right, a gold dinar, Ruvain says, no, you only gave me a dinar kasef, then I will say, that's called the modeh b'miktsas. Since I'm claiming a dinar, he is admitting a dinar, albeit a dinar of lesser value, but since we're in the ballpark, in other words, we're talking the same language of currency, therefore again I'll be chayav to take a shvuah. I say to Ruvain, I deposited a kor. Kor, I will say, is a measurement of wheat with you. Ruvain says, you only gave me a lesech, which is a smaller measure of kidneys of legumes. Pater. I will say again, he's pater from a shvuah. Why? It's not modeh b'miktsas. What he is admitting is nothing to do with the claim I'm making. However, kor peros yeshli. If I say to Ruvain, I deposited a kor of fruit with you. And Ruvain says, no, you only gave me a lesech of kitnis chayiv. Why? Shakitnis bechlal peros. This is very interesting. So apparently, again, kitnis, right? Kitnis, legumes are under the umbrella of peros. Okay, so that's called the partial admission. We'll say, I claim Ruvain, I deposited wheat with you. Ruvain said, I only have your barley. Pater. Well, that's not modeh mix. That's different min. Rabbi Gamliel mechayv. Rabbi Gamliel says, no, you are chayv. We'll say for reasons we'll see in the Gemara. Hatoni lechavira b'kadei shemen. Let's listen to this. I say, Ruvain, you owe me jugs of oil. V'hodelo b'kankanim. And Ruvain says, I owe you jugs, but what? I don't owe you oil. Then I will say, what's the halacha? So v'hodelo b'kankanim. Admon omer hol v'hodelo mixas miminatayna yishava. So Admon will say, says that's modeh b'miktsas. That's modeh b'miktsas. I claim jugs of oil, and ultimately, again, he's claiming I only owe you the jugs, I don't owe you the oil. That lemais again is modeh b'miktsas. V'cham the chachamim say ein ha'odam minatayna. The chacham ultimately say no, that's not modeh b'miktsas. We'll say that's not modeh b'miktsas, and therefore again he's parted from the shvuah. Amar Rabbi Gamliel says roa ani es divrei Admon. I seem to feel that Admon is correct. Tanu kelim v'karkos. We'll say this is the next case. Next case, and we'll see all of this in the Gemara. Obviously, this is just the Mishnah, so don't get nervous. We're going to see the mechanics of these machloks in the Gemara. Tano kelim v'karkos, v'odu v'kelim v'kafar b'karkos. What says this? I claim Ruvain, you owe me utensils and karka. Ruvain denies the claim of the karka. Right? Excuse me. He kafar b'karkos. Excuse me, sorry. Tarnu kelim v'karkos, v'holdu v'kelim v'kafar b'karkos. So he admits that he owes the utensils, but he denies liability by the karka, or b'karkos v'kafar b'kelim, or we'll say again, he ultimately admits the karka, but he denies the kelim. Pater. We'll say in all of these cases he'll be pater. Hodeh b'miktsas hakarkos, potter. I will say if he's modib makes us by the karka, he's going to be potter. I will say, as we're going to see, we already established this, that essentially there are no Shevuos generated by karka. The miktas akelim chayiv. But I will say if he's modib makes us by the kelim, ultimately again he will be chayiv. Shan nechasim she'ilan achrayis zokekin es nechasim sheishlan achrayis l'shavalein. Because I will say at the end of the day, nechasim that have movable property ultimately again are zokik the nechasim. I will say we're going to see this is what's called zika shvua. This is once you're able to take a shvua on something, essentially you can roll the shvua onto other items which themselves would not normally be fit for shvua purposes. So nechasim she'ilan achrayis zokekin es nechasim sheishlan achrayis l'shavalein. So we'll say once a modeh b'miktzas by metaltalin, then by definition again that can make me chayiv to take a shvua ultimately on karka. And lastly, in the shpan al tainas cheirishot of a cotton, I will say if a cheirishot of a cotton make a claim, that claim cannot generate a shvua. Ve'in mashbiyan es hakatan. I will say we do not adjure a cotton, right? We do not make a cotton take a shvua. But lastly, aval nishba'in lekatan ulehektish. I will say one can be forced to take a shvua to a cotton. Or that there could be ultimately, again, the time where I'd have to take a shvua, ultimately to settle a claim against the katan. We'll define the scope of that. Ula hektish. And I will say one could be chayiv to take a shvua to hektish as well. We'll say we'll stop over here. I'll share with you a short idea on the parasha. One of the dramatic episodes in the parasha, I think one of the dramatic episodes of the parasha, Moshe Rabbeinu was born. Torah relates to us how his mother was able to hide him for a total of 3 months until the Egyptians ultimately realized that the keeping count would have realized that she had already given birth to a baby. At that point in time, she has no choice, but in a state of desperation, sets him afloat on the Nile, sets him afloat on the river. And again, the Torah tells us about the dramatic and incredible story about Bas Paro going out to bathe by the river, sees the baby in the basket, and for some strange reason takes compassion on the baby, even though she knows she knows that this baby is a Jewish baby, brings the baby into her home, obviously without telling her father, goes in and raises the baby as her own. So the Moshiach Shel Yisrael, ultimately again the savior of Klal Yisrael, is mamish raised in the very palace of the Pharaoh. So I'll say there is a dramatic pasuk here, and this is a vart that I've mentioned before in a different context, but I just think it bears repetition. So the way the pasuk reads is, this is in Perek Beis pasuk Hey. Vatered Bas Paro lechotz al yor. So Bas Paro goes to bathe by the river. V'ne'aroseh holchos al yad yor. Her maidens were walking with her. Vateres ateva besoch hasuf. She sees the teva, the basket of the baby inside the reeds. Vatishlach es amasa v'tikach el. So we'll say literally translated, she sends amasa. Now literally translated is, she sends her maidservant to fetch the basket. Okay, so we'll say, remember again, Rashi quotes the Gemara Maseches Sota, and the Gemara says, it says Sota Daf Yud Beis, Es Amasa. What does it mean, Amasa? So the Gemara darshans that it was a miracle. What was the miracle? Es Yada. Amasa means her hand, not her maidservant. Shenishtarveva Amasa Amos Harbe. They will say the miracle occurred, and what happened? They will say that miraculously, although the basket was beyond her reach, a miracle occurred. Her hand extended, and she was able to grab the basket. So we'll say the Kotzker asks a simple question. Incredible, beautiful miracle. The Kotzker says Bas Paro is no fool, so she sees where she's standing. She sees where the basket is, and she understands that what? Meaning again, intuitively, she understands that what? There's no way she can reach it. I understand. If there's something on the table, the second table over there, I just see, just through visual recognition, ocular recognition, that I can't reach that. I can't reach that. So if I know that I can't reach it, then what? I'm not even attempting to put my hand. I say, ask the Kotzker, what's going on over here? Right? Again, this is Bas Paro. She's not Milumedes Benisim. It's not like, again, she's such a Halik person that, again, there's miracles. She obviously is a Halik person, but at least before this point, that she saw miracles all around her. So why does she even reach out her hand? So umitchila my server Bas Paro shoshita sedal kachas asateva. Hello, Rasa she nimtzis mirachok uminanya the she's rachish lenes. Why does she reach out her hand if she realizes again there's no way she can reach the basket? This is what the Kotzker says. Elamikan raya. From here we learn a very important lesson. Shalagabi kol devar mitzvah ein laasos cheshbonos. That's Rabbi saying, when it comes in life to something that needs to get done, when it comes to matters of spirituality, when it comes to matters of mitzvahs, when it comes to objectives that you must accomplish, Rabbi say, we don't make cheshbonos. What do? You roll up your sleeves, you stretch out your hand, and you figure out how to get the job done. Rabbi say, sometimes You have to dispense with your intellect, and you just have to figure out how to get the job done. Ha'ikr hu haratzon v'hamaisa. The Bible says sometimes the ikr in life is your desire, your will, and a willingness to act quickly and decisively. V'hanes memela yavo. Sometimes I will say you just have to do what you have to do, and you have to let the Ribbon Shalom do the rest. Says the Katzki, you want to know the amazing lesson over here? We think the amazing lesson of Bas Paro is that she took in a Jewish child, which is dramatically amazing. The really amazing part of Rabbi is that she stretched out her hand. What she realized is there's a little baby there. There's a little baby there. And I can't let that child drown in the Nile like so many before him have. I cannot let it. So what she says is, listen, all I can do right now is stretch out my hand. But that's what I need to do at this moment. What will happen after that, we'll have to figure out. If I use my intellect tells me, don't even stretch out my hand. But my heart tells me, my soul tells you that I need to reach out. Sometimes you just need to reach out your hand, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu does this. And I will say, this is such an incredible lesson in life. Because so often in life, there are things that we know we need to do. But I say to myself, but that goal is so far away. That goal is over there. That dream is over there. That possibility is over there. And I know that that is out of my reach. So if it's out of my reach, what's the point of trying? I say in the realm of ruchnius, in the realm of chesed, in the realm of life accomplishment, sometimes you have to stop letting the intellect be your guiding light. And sometimes you have to let it be your heart, you have to let it be your soul. Sometimes, if something needs to get done, even if it looks out of reach, what you just have to do is stretch out your hand. What you just have to do is get started. What you just have to do is get the ball rolling. How am I going to accomplish it? Don't worry about the how. Just worry about beginning to take decisive action. And if what you want to accomplish is good, and if what you want to accomplish is noble, and if what you want to accomplish is heilig, then you know what will say? Something amazing happens. The Ribbon Shalom will help me. The Ribbon Shalom will stretch out my arm. The Ribbon Shalom will allow me to reach further than I ever thought I could. Says the Katzker. That's the great Musar we learn from Bas Paro. That sometimes in life, I will say, if you need something to happen, think less and do more. If there's something you need to accomplish, sometimes it can't be the seichel. It can't, because I will say, sometimes we know this. The seichel tells us that we can't do things all the time. You know what the best part of seichel is? The best part of seichel? I was saying, the excuses that we could come up with in order not, I'm telling you, I've heard some doozies, and they're really good. They're mamish, they're excellent ones. And I make up enough of my own as well. I will say the excuses that we could come up with for inaction, the excuses that we could come up with ultimately, again, for not realizing, or just the excuses that we can come up with, I will say, for not even trying, for not even attempting, are so givaldic and so imaginative and so incredibly creative. So we'll say, but that's the choice we make in life. The choice we make in life is I could live life with my seichel and not even try, or I could be Bas Paro and say to myself, even though what I want looks like it's out of reach, but if it's beautiful, if it's noble, and if it's heilig, I'm going to at least extend my arm with the hope that if I do my part, the Ribbon Shalom will ultimately partner with me, extend my reach, extend my abilities, extend my kohos, and allow me to make it happen.